This lesson will show you how ChatGPT can help with the relationships in your life with your friends, your family, or significant others. I'm going to input some information about someone specific in my life to ChatGPT. So I'm inputting some information about my uncle here. My uncle is a software engineer in his 40s. He loves hikes, traveling, and waterfalls. He is an INFP Myers-Briggs. He's been successful from a young age. He's a self-made man. He went to Harvard, but he has a temper and he will talk over me instead of listening to what I have to say. We come from different walks of life, and I have a hard time finding things in common. How can I more effectively communicate with this person? So here we have ChatGPT working its magic. Sounds like you want to improve your communication with your uncle despite your differences. Here are some suggestions that might help. We can acknowledge our differences, recognize that your uncle comes from a different generation and has a different life experience than you, accept that you have different opinions and values on certain issues, show genuine interest, listen actively, respectful communication, bridge your differences, and avoid personal attacks. So you can take this down a rabbit hole of getting as specific as you want. You can ask follow-up questions about each suggestion that ChatGPT gives you. You can input all the information you need to really describe the person that you are trying to improve your relationship with, and let ChatGPT help you through your problems. In this lesson, we'll be exploring how you can use ChatGPT to teach you skills that you didn't have before. So we're going to ask for a step-by-step tutorial. How do I use the pivot table in Microsoft Excel? ChatGPT wrote a step-by-step tutorial on how to use the pivot table in Microsoft Excel in these 10 steps. From opening Microsoft Excel, ensuring that our data is properly formatted as a table, to once the data is in a table, click anywhere inside and then click on Insert. From the Insert tab, select Pivot Table, create the pivot table, so on and so forth. Let's say you don't have a specific question you want to ask, but you just need some help. ChatGPT can also assist you there. What are the best tips for using Photoshop for photo editing? Great. Here we got 9 tips for using Photoshop for photo editing. Let's say I just don't understand smart objects and I want ChatGPT to expand a little bit about that. Can you expand on smart objects? I need some clarification. Awesome. So I needed some clarification on smart objects, and here we have this extensive breakdown on what is a smart object, the benefits, how to create them, how to edit them, how to apply filters, and so on and so forth. Just as a different example, let's say I am a music producer using Ableton and I keep hearing some latency, some delay when I'm playing. I hear a delay in my headphones while recording vocals in Ableton Live. How do I get rid of the latency? Latency is a recording term that means that there can be a delay from when you make a sound to when you hear the sound back. So that was a specific problem that we were having, and here we go with some ways to fix that problem. Because I happen to be an expert in Ableton Live, I can tell that this is factually accurate and that these are good ways to reduce the latency or delay effect when you're recording. So let's say you don't have a specific problem that you're working with, but you just want to improve your workflow or your knowledge of a specific software. You can ask ChatGPT to help. What are the most important keyboard shortcuts I should know for After Effects? Adobe After Effects is a video editing software. And here we have it, a list of keyboard shortcuts for Adobe After Effects. Now, as a completely different example, give me 3 plugins for Adobe Premiere that would allow me to create more interesting looking videos. Fascinating. I'll definitely have to look into these. These were just some specific examples, but I just want you to understand how you can ask ChatGPT for step-by-step guides, for solving specific problems, and so much more. Now we're going to be talking about general learning skills with ChatGPT. Give me a step-by-step guide on how to create a YouTube thumbnail on Canva. And there we have it. Here is a step-by-step guide on how to create a YouTube thumbnail on Canva. Sign in, create design, choose your template, upload an image, customize, add text, adjust the size, customize your background, save it, and our YouTube thumbnail is ready for YouTube. It's obviously important to know the specific skills and steps to accomplish something, but it's also important to know different terms, and each industry has their own jargon or own terms, and ChatGPT can help you understand those jargon terms quicker. Give me the top 10 jargon terms used in economics. Amazing. So here we have a breakdown of 10 jargon terms used in economics, from from GDP to inflation, deflation, and so on and so forth. It's so important to understand the jargon terms because you can read an article that throws a word out that you don't understand, but you do understand the concept of that word. So understanding the jargon helps you understand the article as a whole. Lastly, even if you do know the step-by-steps on how to do or solve a specific problem and somebody else asks you a question, maybe you don't have the time. You can use ChatGPT to answer their questions for them.
Let's now dive into text and article analysis. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about finding articles online that you want to learn about that are dense in the nature of how much text there is to go through. And we're going to see how we can use ChatGPT to paste URL links directly from articles into the platform and summarize it so that you can get the information you're looking for much more quickly. We're going to start with this James Webb Telescope article. And the title is Why the First Webb Telescope Images Mean So Much for Scientists. And as we scroll through here, we can see it's pretty extensive. There's also other parts of this web page that we don't want to put into ChatGPT. Obviously, there's ads, there's other sections for other articles, and there's other text going on. But we're going to go ahead and grab this URL, and I'm going to go to ChatGPT, and I'm going to paste this in, and I'm going to ask it to summarize the most important information from this article into 10 bullet points. And what ChatGPT is going to do is going to take the title, it's going to take only the information that we want, and it's going to break that down into the bullet points that we requested. And so as you know, here's our bullet point list. We can generate a new response. We can open up and dive into further detail any of the specific points. And we can also ask ChatGPT to define whatever parts of this breakdown that we want. For example, what is a mid-infrared instrument? And what is a near-infrared spectrograph? If we want more elaboration on those things, we can copy them, put them into ChatGPT, and it's going to give us a breakdown. So there's our definition of a near-infrared spectrograph. And the next thing that we can do to take this one step further is to ask ChatGPT to take the 10 most important keywords in the original article that I shared and define them. Let's see what we get. Now we have a bullet point list of the top 10 most important keywords from our original article. And for this example, I'm not going to break down any of these further, but what I want to do is ask what other events and information that's related to this topic that I should learn. So here's the list that it gave me. It gave me more details on the James Webb Space Telescope. It also talked a little bit about the Hubble Space Telescope, that how it was the successor to that telescope, and a few other events. But honestly, what I would rather get are other related key points in history and other topics related to NASA and these types of similar space events. So let's change our prompt to what are 10 other historical and significant events different from the James Webb Space Telescope that someone interested in space would want to know. Let's see what we come up with. Perfect, and we have our list of other important, significant events in the same genre of information. Now, lastly, what I want to do is, because it's mentioning the Hubble telescope again and how the James Webb was a successor to this first piece of technology, what I wanted to do to further synthesize this information is compare the similarities and differences of the James Webb Space Telescope and the Hubble Space Telescope. Explain the differences in simple terms that the average person would understand and find interesting. Perfect. And here's our comparison between these two pieces of technology. It compares the size, the wavelength, the location, the purpose, the instruments, and the launch. So a ton of really interesting things you can do with this tool, and I will see you in the next lesson.
For watching the video till the end. Please leave your thoughts below so we can discuss more about the topic. If you'd like to suggest a video that could help the community, feel free to message me on X or Instagram. We also share short videos on Instagram, so make sure to follow us there. Feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you, and might even create a video based on your suggestion.